All right, we got a great episode coming to you. With that being said, I just want to give a quick shout out to Pixar. Here at the team at A View to Film, we've been deliberating what the next season should be, and we were thinking about doing animation and some international films. In that spirit, I stirred up a debate on what top 15 films there should be, and then we got into what we should eliminate from the top 15 because, as you know, there's 22 films in Pixar right now that are out, and we ended up eliminating The Good Dinosaur, all the Cars movies, Bug's Life, some tough choices. But anyway, for more on that, go to our Instagram. We just posted the top 15 favorites. I also tweeted about it as well, so it'll be pretty interesting. But anyway, let's get going with the show. I'm Luis Agustin, and this is A View to Film. Welcome back to A View to Film. My very next guest is a great colleague of mine from work, huge Mets fan, mother of one, and an all-time wonderful person just to be around. Please welcome Miss Aurora Borst. Welcome, Aurora.
Hey. Feels good to be here.
Happy Sunday to you. How you been?
Happy Sunday to you. You know, glorious. It's Sunday. Tomorrow's Monday. First day of work. Come on. Start of a new week, new month. It's a great time to be alive.
I know. No, I'm excited. So, what movie are we talking about today?
We're talking about Major League. The best baseball movie ever.
Awesome. Is this the best baseball movie ever?
Definitely my favorite.
If you had to pick your top two, what would be your second favorite then? Like, just out of curiosity.
Top two. So, Major League. And then I would have to go with... This is kind of tough. I mean, I love A League of Their Own. So I'd probably go with A League of Their Own. But Little Big League and Sandlot are true to my, they're close to my heart.
Yeah,
I can't lie about that.
I give it to you. Those are all amazing. We did Sandlot already. My brother-in-law was on that episode, and A League of Their Own is actually coming out tonight. We're actually releasing that podcast tonight, so that'll be another listen for the fans if they want to listen to that.
Oh, nice.
All right. Yeah. So why, in your own words, why do you love this film so much?
I love this film so much because there's just a lot of really good one-liners, and it's off the wall.
Very true.
It's definitely off the wall, and I definitely think some people did improvisations. You know what I mean? I honestly think all these guys are funny. The shit they were doing, I would could see my friends saying and doing. So obviously it's very relatable, but hysterical. Definitely a lot of good one-liners. Great cast. I don't know.
I agree with you. I think it's, and I actually wrote this down as I watch it because I watched it twice actually before we even come on because it's kind of such a quick movie to watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's one of the most quotable movies, I think in all time. Every line that the cast drops is oh yeah, that's quotable. And especially if you're a baseball nut like me and you are, right? It's just oh, that's awesome. That's phenomenal. You can relate to that, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, not even quotes, but just shit they say. So, I mean, obviously that is a quote, but I mean, when you think of quotes, you think of long, a sentence or so. But just them talking about one another. Look at this guy. Look at this fucking guy. You know what I mean? Just him pulling up, but then they're looking at him this guy's nuts.
I know, and it has his little convertible, right? The what is that? Willie Mays Hayes.
Yeah, or when Charlie Sheen pretty much pulls up on the motorcycle, and then he just looks like he just came out of hell. They were just what the hell? Where are these? Who are these guys? You know what I mean? Just their reactions. I die.
I was gonna say spoiler warning. So, what do you think about the fact that the owner is an ex-showgirl wife? Did you pick up on that line? I never noticed.
Oh yeah, how the heck have you not picked up on that? she's just like, obviously like a money grubbing, gold digger. She wants what she wants to sell the team so that she can go somewhere else, obviously. But yeah, like she doesn't know anything about the sport. She just wants to like pretty much ruin them.
The reason why I never knew that is because, and I was going to ask you this, is like the first time I remember watching this film, I never truly recall sitting down and watching it in its entirety. Like when I was growing up, I would watch it a lot, like on TV or in passing, and it was always like clips or like a scene. You know what I mean? Because it was so quotable, you kind of piece together the whole movie, or you kind of make out what the hell's going on. It's a pretty easy plot to follow, right?
Oh,
But
absolutely.
I never took the time to actually truly sit down and watch the whole thing from like beginning to end, unless I was like, all right, let me put on Major League and just watch it. Like as a kid, I was usually just putting it on randomly. Like, oh, it's the middle of this scene. Oh, perfect. He's gonna like coming off the bullpen now. Let me watch this for like the next 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely one of those movies where you don't actually have to watch it from start to finish. Like you can literally jump in at any time, pretty much like any Adam Sandler movie too, right? Like you literally just you jump in, catch all the laughs, and keep going with it. So I can totally see that.
Exactly. So, yeah, so now that we gave the spoiler warning, right? What, in your words, do you think is the main theme of this movie? I know it's a sports movie and it's pretty much a comedy, right? But like, if you had to get down to the granular, what would you say is your main like theme of this movie? What do you think it's about?
You know what? Like never bet against the underdogs. Or well, obviously you're gonna bet against the underdogs, but like, don't count them out pretty much. Because that
Right.
lady did everything she possibly could to build the worst team ever, bringing these guys from like the sewer pretty much. And they did it dirty. They made it happen. You know what I mean? They got to where they needed to be. Obviously it's a lot of heart, a lot of hard work, a lot of effort. You can do anything you want to. So pretty much just like an underdog story.
That's true. I like that. I think that a lot of like the sports movies are underdog stories.
Yeah.
Um, I actually wrote down. I think it's about like redemption. Like trying to fix the errors of your ways. Like obviously she recruited, right? So getting into the movie, she recruited personally like all like the worst people you can imagine, right? A dude who was in jail, a reject catcher, like a coach that wasn't even really coaching. So she assembled exactly right. She assembled all of these rejects who obviously made errors in their life. And I specifically wrote down like about Jake Taylor. He's trying to save himself from an error he did and redeem himself. So not only with Lynn, with his ex-wife, but also like the story as far as like the baseball movie itself. So I think that redemption is pretty much like big in Major League. I mean, I know we're getting into deep it, but what do you think about my theory about that?
I could buy that. I mean, you're absolutely right. Everybody kind of had their own little story going on. You have somebody like Dorn who's cocky and like they think that he's past his prime. You have somebody like you said, like Ricky Vaughn, who's in jail and they don't really take him seriously. And then
Exactly.
Lou Brown who's selling tires or whatever the hell he's doing. And then Jake's in Mexico. So it's like they're all kind of being brought back together, given a second chance or a first chance at the majors. So I definitely can see your point there.
Here's a random questions for you, right? As before we even start more talking about the film. What do you think about Major League 2 and 3? Have you seen them or you don't even acknowledge them?
First of all, I love Major League 2. I've never seen Major League 3.
You've never seen 3?
I never saw
Oh
3, but
my.
I love Major League 2. Honestly, I would say that that's one of my favorites as well, but obviously I like regular Major League.
What do you think about Omar Epps coming in for Wesley Snipes? Like, what did you think about that then?
Wesley Snipes is classic. He did a great job. I love him. Omar Epps
Right.
didn't do bad. You know what I mean? I mean, at the same time, you got to remember he's coming in. He's a new man during the second movie. Like he's established.
Right.
Like they don't like he was a nobody. He was a Joe Schmo for the first movie. They didn't even know who he was. And then the second movie, he's coming in. People know him. You know what I mean? So now he's more cocky. He doesn't feel like he has to prove anything. So I guess like
Right. Right.
changing the character, because of that, because of the storyline and that concept, you're already seeing a change in his persona. So I guess it
Mhm.
doesn't hurt it too much. But I definitely like Wesley Snipes better, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, obviously I like number 1. That goes without saying. I think the Omar Epps change was pretty cool. I didn't get the same feel for it, and I think that the storyline. And I hate to jump into Major League 2 because we're not even talk about that, but I didn't like the storyline of Vaughn being like a washout,
Mhm.
or the fact that he got money hungry as well. I like them more as these misfits, right? And coming up and getting that redemption. In part two, they all got cocky, and I guess that's how we all get, right? In general, like when we make it to the top, then you start getting cocky. You don't humble yourself. I think I liked it better as the redemption story at the beginning.
Mhm.
And then also, might I add, I'm going to give you some homework. I really, really, really encourage you to check out part three. I think like it's pretty bad. I'm not even gonna lie to you, it's pretty bad. But like as a cult classic, like there's some funny like little lines there. It's pretty hilarious. So
No, I'll definitely check it out. And just to go back to what you said about Ricky Vaughn, so in the
right,
second one, I didn't necessarily think he was money hungry. I feel like more that was Omar Epps. If anything, I think Ricky
okay,
Vaughn,
okay,
he was just like into like his image more, but mainly because of the girl, like, you know what I mean? His new girlfriend
yes,
who was trying to change him.
yes,
So I think he got caught up. I honestly don't think he was like really money hungry. I just think that he was pretty much like involved with her and he forgot his place. Like he forgot like who he was. But I didn't see him as like chasing the money. I mean obviously he probably liked it and he liked nicer things, but I didn't get that from him.
that's what I was gonna say. So, but the girl made him more
Yeah,
look at
yeah.
his image. You know what
Of
I
course.
mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that she did that, it made him seem like I hate to say it, but a douchebag. Like bro,
Oh
like
yeah.
what do you care about your image for? Like you're the wild thing. Come on, like I don't know. Like to me, that kind of dragged, and I was like, oh my god, like bro, like
No, absolutely, and I'm actually totally with you on the concept behind the movie for the first one being better than the second one. I think that it was just that the
right,
first one was so classic that so many people just, like, loved it so much, and, like, the second one was kinda like a gimme. Like, they knew people were gonna go and see it because they love the characters, they love the one-liners.
right, right,
So, I mean, obviously, the
right.
first one's better, but, I think it was just kinda like, "Oh, we can definitely get away with putting this out there." I happen to love it. I love the addition of Tanaka. I think that was ridiculous. I love Bob Uecker from both of them, so
Yes, I will give you that. But and also Tanaka's in the third one too, which is freaking
what?
hilarious.
Alright,
No,
I'll
because
check it out.
see, that's- they get thrown back to the minor leagues, and that's why it's so funny. Like that they get pushed down to the minor. Anyway, all right, let's not go on a part three rant.
Maybe I shouldn't tell you this, but
Okay.
I'm actually a person that likes a lot of movies that other people do not because I find, like, gold within them, like, things that make me laugh that would probably not make half of America laugh, but, like, that's just me.
No, that's
So
true. No, no,
so
that's true. I'm telling you. Then I encourage you. Trust me. If you watch part three, you're gonna call me up one day and you'll be like, "Yo, Lou, I saw part three. Freaking hysterical."
I like movies that are like that. Like, what movies like, there were other movies like freaking Cable Guy that most of America hated that. There was, like, a few movies that I just, like, loved that other people were like, "That was terrible. What the hell were you thinking?" So maybe I'll like it. I don't know.
All right. So let's jump into the movie. Let's jump into the movie. So here's something I wrote down, and I wanted to bring it to your attention, right? So my podcast for this season, our main theme is love and baseball, right? So do you feel, and there's a couple of questions I'm gonna toss at you, but you can rock with it.
Mhm.
The heart of the movie, do you think it's about Jake Taylor and why he was getting back with Lynn? I foreshadowed earlier. Like, how did you feel about that aspect of the movie? Because half of the movie is about the team, and then half of it, I think, is about Jake and like him trying to get back. Like, what did you think about that portion?
Um, I definitely think they it helped that they threw, like, a love storyline in there pretty much, cause it gives, like, people something else to look out for besides the baseball aspect that obviously these guys are real people and that they make mistakes not just on the baseball field, but in real life. And it was
Right,
actually honestly, his relationship with her was also hysterical. So, I mean, it was, like, hysterical to watch, but then, he got to redeem himself with that too. So I definitely think that that was a good storyline within the movie. I definitely think obviously it was just like a sideline though. I don't think it was anything crazy. Like I didn't like watch the movie for that obviously, and I don't think many people did. But that's just my opinion. I mean, maybe other people did want to see the love storyline.
So are you one of those people that, as you're watching Major League, you're skipping over all the Jake Taylor scenes? Because there, some of them are hilarious. Like,
No, 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 I definitely didn't skip anything at all, like, and I think he's hysterical too, and I love the part when he's at the guy's house and he's like, "Yeah, we got baseball uniforms and everything," you know what I mean? Like, it was that his one-liners are great, like, I love it. I'm here for it. I just think that, like, it was just, like, like a side piece kinda, like, it was good. Because that storyline was funny too, that's what I'm saying, like, it had a lot of comedy behind it, so I think that definitely helped.
he made a good case for Cleveland. Would you ever go play ball in Cleveland? Have you ever been to Cleveland?
I've never been to Cleveland, but I wanna go to see the baseball
Yeah.
field. I've
Yeah. No,
I
I don't.
honestly I wanna see all the baseball fields in the country though, so that is, one of my bucket list items.
That's true. That's true. Have you been to Wrigley? I love Wrigley.
Yep, I took my son to Wrigley, Chicago Cubs versus Mets, like, 3 years ago. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, so, and real quick, and then I'll move on from my love and baseball topic. Why do you think Lynn took him back?
I think that she was always in love with him, obviously, but then she couldn't justify why she was gonna go back to him, and I think that when he came back to her this time and he actually, showed him he did redeem himself, like, he showed her he changed a little bit. Now,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, he coulda just been lying, like a lot of women think men do sometimes, right? But, I think that, like, her like, them talking I didn't know how to say that in, like, a nice way, I guess, but, like,
It's okay. It's okay. You're educating the listeners now. That's it.
oh boy, dangerous. No.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
that when they were talking about the Moby Dick story, and I don't think she ever believed that he actually did anything she ever asked of him, and when he actually proved it because he showed her that he did, I think that was like what sealed the deal with her. I think she was always just looking for a reason to have faith in him and believe in him, and he gave her one. So I think that that's why she left. I don't think she ever did like wasn't in love with him. I think she was always in love with him, but just kept herself away from him.
To me personally, I feel like it's that bond between like athletes and like love for the sport as well. I feel like they shared something, and which is I'm assuming why they got together in the first place, because they were both athletes.
Mhm.
And it kind of leads to what I was talking about as far as like having love for the game, having love for each other, and you build that bond, right? Because of he supports her vision, as far as like passing it down to the kids.
Mhm.
It's like that bond that they had. Like, all right, cool, yeah, we're together. We've played a sport, and we're unified in this. I think that that's what it shows you, that you know what I mean, in the story.
Yeah, no, I can absolutely attest to that. I think that athletes, who train day in, day out, they have, like, a lot of things in common, and I think that that definitely probably is what drew them together in the first place. Obviously, they were 2 good-looking
Hmm.
people. They knew each other when they were younger. They both, had dreams and visions for themselves, and they worked at it as much as they could. But obviously, there's a lot of different things that come with fame and, like, getting into major league sports and whatnot, and she could control it and he couldn't, which is what drove them apart. But I definitely could see that they had a common bond, and that was definitely probably the reason that brought them together. And I could see that, like, I could see your point as well that that's what brought her back to him, or him back to
Hmm.
her, or whichever way.
So you ready for a tough question?
Oh boy, sure.
Why do you think they made a woman the heel in this movie? They could have had an asshole owner, a man owner, which is typically what you would see, right? But they made it a woman who's the like the villain, right, or the evil person. Like, why do you think they chose to do that in this movie, as specifically?
Because it was hysterical. Like, that was
Yeah,
just more I think that that just made it so much funnier, that it's like, this lady who doesn't know anything really about the sport at all, she just wants to get her
right.
way. She just her husband died, she took over this team, she just wants money, she wants to get out of there. So, like, I think that whole concept is great. Like, to me, I think they just did it because, like, it's ridiculous. It's fucking just, like, not far-fetched because it happens, right? But, like, it's
Yeah, yeah.
just adds more fuel to the fire.
Yeah, it's not far fetched, but for an owner to want to move their team, it's kind of like, yo, yikes! Like, this is how bad these guys got to play. Like, it's crazy to me. You know what I mean?
Well, she was just doing it for selfish reasons, you know. Like, so she
Yeah.
didn't want to get out of there. She knew nothing about the sport, really. Like, she didn't. If she cared about the sport, she would like love it. She would want to get the best players. She would want to make them do great. She didn't give a shit about it. She just wants money. She wants to move away. Like, she doesn't care about anything but herself, and you could see that. She had great lines too, though. She was fucking funny herself.
Oh,
So
fantastic. 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 So, why do you think the GM, right? The guy who's always sitting next to her, why do you think he opened up to Lou in the middle of the movie about what her plan was? Why do you think he had that motivation to do that?
because I think he actually did care about the team, and I think that like he actually wanted the team to stay there deep down. I don't think he shared her vision at all, and
Right. Well,
he
obviously,
likes
yeah.
Lou. He likes the guys. He saw that they were really trying. You know what I mean? He probably just wanted to let them know, like, hey, listen, she's gonna do whatever she can to make sure you guys fail. So don't be surprised. And also that I think that he wanted them to stay. I think he wanted that, to do really well and prove her wrong. And I think that maybe him telling them that would make them work that much harder. So I definitely could see it that way.
You're a professional, right, in your job. Do you think no, no. Do you think this is the best form of motivation to give doubt to somebody so they can prove you wrong?
I mean, it works for me, buddy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So then
Like,
how do you so here's a random question. So how do you motivate your team?
so for me, that motivates me, right? Like, that actually has motivated me. I've had haters in the past. I've had people that didn't know me from a ham sandwich, and they say shit, and I'm just like, how do they even know who I am? You know what I mean? And like when I hear that,
Mhm.
people talking smack, it makes me be like, all right, I'm gonna make you look stupid because I will do it the best way I know how.
Right.
That motivates me. But for me personally, like when it comes to my team, I just have to figure out what motivates them individually. So like with those guys in this example for the movie, like they all, like you said, they were up for redemption. They all wanted. Some of them got their chance for the first time. Some of them were getting their second chance, and then they wanted to make it count. So for those people who really want something and they're close to it and they can taste it, like if somebody tells you something like that and this is your chance, you're gonna do whatever you can to prove them wrong. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Would you ever have a cutout of your boss? Shout out to your boss. And try
You're
to
my
motivate your
boss.
team like they did. No, no, not a good idea. No, no.
You know what? Actually, I would do that. Fuck it. And you know what? Hopefully, I'm going to tell Pete to listen to this podcast, and he can think about it himself.
I listen. You have got if you do that and you order a cutout of him, like and you peel it off. You've got to send us a picture. Like I'm gonna post this so quick, a tag him on it. Like it's so hilarious. That would be pretty dope, though.
He's
That
got
would be
like a
pretty
pretty good
dope.
sense of humor though, so I could see him being into it. Not the naked part. Like I don't think I would, do that to him, but just joking around, doing something similar, especially when it comes to sports movies. Me and Pete have actually spoken about Major League before. I think just to go back to your original question, I definitely think he'd have a good sense of humor about it. Whether he would ever allow me to do that is a different story, but I would do it. Not the naked part, not the naked part.
No, no, not the naked part, of course. No, maybe like in shorts or something. But I was gonna say we have to like definitely Google like if you can get that done. I'm sure we're not the only ones who've thought about it after watching this film. So, I was gonna say to answer my own question, I think that as a GM, right? If I was in his shoes, I wouldn't want that to be my legacy, right? If you're running a major league ball club and you come in dead last, like that's not going to look good for his prospects moving on, especially if they move the team. She's going to get rid of everybody, probably him too. Probably get a new, yeah, it's true. Think about it. Probably a new
Yeah, no, of
GM,
course.
and
Yeah.
he's going to have a tougher time finding a job because they're going to look at his resume and say, bro, you came in dead last. What do you mean? You suck. Like he can't explain that to other owners, right?
No, absolutely. And you're completely right about that. The vibe I got from the movie, and obviously everybody's gonna get a different vibe when they watch it, or a different, different feeling for it. The vibe I got was just that he felt sorry for them, honestly, because he could see like they gave
Yeah,
they take this guy from a tire shop, or and like they give him all these characters that he now has to like mold into this team, and they're actually
right.
contenders. They're actually doing pretty well. You know what I mean? Like they're not as bad as they thought.
One game under 500. Let's be clear. They were
Well,
doing okay.
no, listen. I'm not saying they were the greatest, but I'm saying like when I say contenders, like they weren't exactly like incapable. You know what I mean? So like they
That's true.
wanted to
Yeah.
handicap these people to the point where they weren't gonna do shit. Like, and I feel like I didn't think he thought that they were gonna go to the World Series or anything, but I definitely think he thought that they had, like, they did the best they can with what they had. And I honestly think the vibe I got was that he just felt sorry for them and that he did want to see them, succeed and do really well.
Succeed, yeah.
I honestly didn't see the side of Charlie actually worrying about himself so much, but I could definitely see that side of the plot. Like, or if they got deeper into him, obviously.
All right. Let's get into some of our favorites. You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Here we go. What is your favorite quote of the film?
Oh Jesus.
Do you want to hear mine first and then you can go?
Sure.
My favorite quote is forget about the curveball, Ricky, give him the heater. I quote that. I gotta tell you something. Me and my brother, we freaking love this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we quote that line to each other all the time because like we'll be watching a game, right? It could be any game, like football, baseball, basketball, and we'll notice a team take their foot off the gas, or it's like, nah, bro, like give them the heater, like let's give it your all. Don't be lax. Don't give up. You're right at the finish line. Give them your best stuff. And to me, as an athlete, growing up, especially in high school, like you want to give your best even when you think you have something in the bag or when like you become too overconfident. I love that quote and I'll constantly say it all the time. Like, no, forget about the curveball. Give him the heater. Give him your best shit. You know what I mean? Like you if you get beat on your best stuff, then you can live with that. And I've always been the kind of person like that. That I'm like, hey, you know what? I gave him my best and I can live with that. But when you get beat on bullshit, I hate that. Like I hate it kills me so much because I know I didn't give my best effort. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that, like, you raise a great point. Like, that is a great, like, line, and you could put that in any situation pretty much. Now I kind of
All
feel
the
more
time.
now I kind of feel like an asshole because I think all of my favorite lines are all just
No,
fucked
no,
up
it's
things that
fine.
they say. Like, honestly, like, I don't have, like, inspirational quote, like, favorite lines. I have shit like I love when Vaughn's like, "I look like a banker in this." Like, there's like lines like that, or like when when Dorn is like, "My contract states I don't have to do calisthenics, but I don't feel it necessary." I'm like, and then like he pisses on it. I think that shit's hysterical. I'm like, these guys are fucking like ridiculous. Like this is supposed to be a baseball team. You know what I mean? Like what the fuck?
No, but
Hearing you talk about like motivational quotes, I feel like an asshole.
but it was no. It wasn't to make you feel like an asshole.
No,
It's
I
just
know. I
that
don't really like. I know. I'm fucking with you, but
I'm, I know. I'm cracking up because I didn't necessarily mean it in that way. It's just that I genuinely use that quote legit. Like out of all the quotes, I listen. I know this movie like you, like
I
by
believe
heart.
you.
Like you know what I mean. Like, and I can quote everything. But like I genuinely find myself saying that quote to my brother and to my boys, like, yo, forget about the curveball, give him the fucking heater. Like I get so amped with saying it, but it's not just for it to be inspirational. It's just to me, I find that motivating. Like, and I
No,
can say that to
absolutely.
anybody who's watched this movie. I'm like, bro. But the fact that like your boy Dorn legit in his contract can doesn't have to do
What? Who
calisthenics.
doesn't?
That's classic.
No, I agree with you. It's batshit crazy. Like that, and they would allow that. Like he doesn't have to do stretches with his team, like if his coaches tell him to. Who the fuck do you think you are?
But you know what though? And I bet you money that it's funny. It's funny you say that, right? But there are definitely athletes out there that probably have shit like that in their contracts because they don't want to be part of the team. They want to be individuals, right?
Of course, you know your prima donnas, and that's exactly what Dorn is. He's a prima donna.
Right. And I'm sure you've dealt with people like that. Like we could take that quote and make it into something like, hey, look, like don't be that person who plays for yourself.
I love the part in the beginning of the movie where they're looking at the list of people that she wants to bring on, and the guy goes, "This guy here is dead," and she's like, "Well, cross him off then." You know what I mean? I'm like that's what he's saying. That brings me back to why like them bringing her on as the coach. It's so like unprofessional. You know what I mean? Like not the coach. I'm sorry, as the owner, like the female owner. It's absolutely to me. It just makes it so much better because she doesn't give a shit. Like it to me, like I love it. It just kind of ties it all together. You know what I mean?
I can't stop laughing. That's so classic. It's just classic.
Totally.
People need to watch this. If you haven't seen it, please watch it.
Please watch it.
All right. So then what's your favorite scene?
My favorite scene in the movie. I like a lot of them actually.
That's fine. Give me top two. Give me top two then.
Top two. I do like the scene where Jake is going over to the boyfriend's house, and all of those people are
Yes.
like they have no idea that like he's still a team, like, and that he's like a real athlete. Like to me, that's hysterical. His attitude throughout that. And
No,
then
and then
let's
like you
see.
said earlier, the fact that they didn't even know a team existed in their own state where they're living in. Like, I'm like,
Oh
bro, you don't even know that there's a team here? Are you serious right now?
no, absolutely. And then what's my second one? I I also love the scene in the beginning when Willie Mays Hayes is like he just shows up to spring training and he wasn't invited, and they're like I think that's hysterical. And then they're like who is this guy? And you just see like in the middle of the night the security guards are taking him away. Like he just showed up to spring training. I didn't even know people could do that. Like I want to do that.
Number one, that was my first question. How did he even know that they had a spring training? And then number two, why did the security guards, and this I've always asked this, if you're gonna kick him out, why did you kick him out right outside? Why didn't you just take him somewhere else where he couldn't even get back in?
Well, I thought it was actually really funny the way they did it because they literally just lifted up his bed and left him outside. Like they didn't give a shit if he got mugged in his sleep. To me,
Exactly.
that was hysterical.
My favorite scene is when Taylor he goes to Dorn's house and he tells him to that he's gonna shove his nuts down his throat, like after tanking that play.
That was definitely hysterical. I love that, and I think it's exactly what Thor needed to hear because he was being a little shit the whole time.
Curiously enough, like we were speaking about a little earlier, like a lot of the prima donna players, and even like in a company or in baseball or any sport for that matter, like sometimes you freaking need that. Like you need a dude to come up to you, yo, bro, you're not that good anymore, or you know, cut the crap, like stop playing for yourself and kind of check you. You know what I mean? Like you as a manager, I'm sure you've had to deal with this, you know, in your lifetime. As far as like, there's somebody always who comes in like a new kid who thinks he's hot shit, and like you have to set him aside. Like you don't know everything, you know. Sometimes people think they know everything, but they don't. Like that's what you're there for, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And I think in this specific case, it's like two things. Like Dorn and Taylor had a decent relationship where they got along really well, so he had that type of buy-in with him. And secondly, Taylor had nothing to freaking lose. Like he did it because like what
Right,
could
right.
possibly happen? Like Dorn's not gonna like cut him or anything like that. He can't do anything to him. He's just ruining it for everybody else. So he's putting him in check. So that definitely worked for him for a few different reasons.
One thing I was gonna note on the ending is I'm usually not a big fan of like slow motion in movies, but I gotta tell you, in this movie, it's amazing. Especially like because like throughout the whole ending, like it builds the tension, like especially when Taylor's up and he motions that he's gonna hit a home run, and
Mm-hmm.
then like he goes through the bunt and you see Willie Mays Hayes rounding, like that whole thing in slow motion, phenomenal. The pitching with Vaughn, slow motion, phenomenal. Like I feel like, especially like in certain sports movies, not all of them, because sometimes it comes off as corny, but even with this movie being as corny as it is, it's so well done. You know, like, do you follow what I'm saying? Like, it builds the tension, like in those last
Absolutely.
couple of minutes.
And no, absolutely. Because honestly, the whole movie, as you're going through the movie, everything is like a big joke, right? Like it's just like a run
Right.
on laughing like show. And then at the end, it actually reminds you that, hey, they're actually here to sort of, to get this done. So it like makes it all serious for like the last few minutes because it's showing them, okay, like it's culminating, it's getting to this. So I think that the freeze, the slow motion actually definitely like captures that. It makes you say, okay, this is what we're here for. So I definitely think that that was a great way to show, to showcase what they had done.
What gave you the most chills? You know, as a sports fan, I always get chills a lot when I see my favorite sports movie, which is actually The Natural. So, like, I love that movie a lot. Like, especially when he's hitting a home run, whatever, at the end. But in this movie, we have a lot of moments where everybody has like their significant clutch performance. Serrano's home run or Vaughn's strikeout? Which one gives you the most chills? Like 1 through a 10.
Serrano. I honestly haven't really spoken about Serrano a lot this whole podcast, and I'm actually surprised because I
All
just
right,
like
show him some love. Show him some love.
he's a man, Pedro
Yeah.
Serrano. Fuck you, Jobu. But like honestly, like they knew exactly how to pitch him, and you know what? Like he was like striking out, striking out, striking out, and he figured it out and freaking crushed it. So to me, because like I don't know, like Ricky, you know, he could throw the heat. They gave him his glasses. He did what he had to do. With Serrano, like that was actually something that you weren't sure if you can expect it. You know what I mean? It just came. So I definitely think that gave me more chills.
Funny enough, you say that. I love Serrano, and that one gives me chills too. But I actually kind of gave the slight edge to Ricky. The only reason being is that a lot of the times in baseball, in particular, a lot of the highlights you'll see is usually like the batter coming through, right? Like they always have the big hit, the big home run. But like Major League does it where they show you the big strikeout and you're like freaking like going crazy. And then not only that, you got the intro music with the wild thing coming in. So you're already
Right.
like pumped up. Like I'm like yelling at the screen. Like you got the music and you got this dude who's a guy who owned him. Haywood owned him. And like he just strikes him out. Like I was like, holy shit. Like to me, that gets me like crazy adrenaline, you know?
Well, absolutely. So, like, as a sports fan that loves to actually go to the games at the
Right.
stadium, like, there's nothing like an electrifying crowd that like really gets your blood pumping. So, in that sense, yeah, I love that they play Wild Thing and these people are going batshit crazy. And then, you know, he's
Right.
walking up to the mound. He's got his little spiky hair with his glasses with the poison sign on the front, and like, I definitely like the whole introduction leading up to the strikeout. I definitely, to me, I guess I could see it coming. Obviously, I could see the Serrano one coming eventually too, but as like because like he was just known at sucking, hitting the fastball the whole time. Like we knew Ricky had
Mm-hmm.
like he could throw the fastball. We knew that he was like a great pitcher. He just needed direction and so wear his glasses. For me, I kind of could catch that. I do like the electrifying crowd though, and like honestly, as a sports fan that loves to go to games, that does definitely grab me as well. Both great teams, by the way. So I definitely you can't go wrong either way. So honestly, I mean, they're like again, they're both great.
All right. So here's another one for you, right? Still talking about the ending. What do you consider the more clutch performance? So not the one that gives you the most chills, but what do you think helped the Indians beat the Yankees in that one, right? Was it the home run? Was it the Mays stolen base? And also the fact that like he also stole a home run too. So Willie Mays Hayes did two plays that were clutch. The Vaughn strikeout or the fact that Taylor legged out the clutch bunt? Which one would you pick as the most clutch performance?
Um, I definitely would say Jake Taylor calling his shot and then bunting the ball and running it out. I think to me that
Okay.
was the only because like okay, so maybe seeing the movie a million times, you could say there's a possibility that he could have done that to trick them, whatever. But like, when you're actually playing the game, they know this man can't run. So you would you would
That's
never
true.
think that somebody like that is going to place a bunt and then fucking try to run out the ball. Like the probability of that is, very slim. So they're all like clutch plays. I personally think in this specific movie, this specific, that win, that it was Jake and his running out the bunt.
I agree with you. And you know why I agree with you too? Because the fact that he like pretty much blew out his knees. And obviously, as we saw in part two, he's the one coaching because
Yeah.
he can't freaking play anymore. But now, yeah, I give it to you. It's true. That like I think that out of a lot of the movies that we've seen growing up, that one was the best twist, right? Where this guy's calling his shot, you think he's just gonna come through with a home run, and then you get the earlier foreshadow what he calls his shot, right? And then they're making fun of him, like, yeah, you really you really crushed that one, like, yeah, nice one, right? So you're thinking, ah, shit, he's gonna come through, and then all of a sudden he just bunts, and I'm like, what? A
he,
movie ending in a bunt?
he still
Like,
comes through.
ah, yeah, he came through all right. He
He
came
still
through.
came through. I mean, the best way he could, because he's not Willie Mays Hayes. He cannot like run like that. So he still made it happen though. So that's what it
That's
is.
true.
It's like who can make it happen.
So you ready for some random questions before we get to our MVP?
Sure.
All right. So very important question. The fans want to know because I'm going to put a poll up on
Oh
this.
God.
Can Jesus Christ hit a curveball? Yes or no?
Jesus Christ, most certainly can. Let's go.
Okay.
Come on.
All right. um, Major League One is rated what as a movie?
Wait, like okay, if I had to guess, PG-13.
No, it's rated R
Is it
actually.
really
Yeah, and then guess what? Major League Two is rated.
the same?
Nope, PG. They toned it down. Can you believe that?
Major League Two, Major League Two, Major League Two. Well, they
Yeah,
had kids in the movie, but that usually. Hmm.
and since no, but think about it this way: like they do so much freaking cursing and doing some crazy. I think it's a wilder movie, right? Like I was like, damn, if this is not rated R, I'm like just gonna flip out. No, seriously. And then I googled, I'm like, oh, okay, good. So then out of curiosity, I was like, wait, how many baseball movies are rated R? What do you think is the first ever like rated R baseball movie? If you had to randomly guess.
Rated R.
I'll give you a hint. It's like also has a lot of cursing, a lot of like sexual innuendos.
Um, Bull Durham. I honestly, I
You
don't.
got it. No, you got it. Exactly. You got it right. Bull Durham came out the year before. So like that's just like a random fact, trivia. And then the year after came Major League, both rated R, both big hits, you know. So
Mhm.
I was just very curiously like, oh shit, like look, rated R did in baseball movie didn't do so bad, you know, it became cult classics.
Well, but then that goes back to like what we were talking about before too. Like pretty much like when I was kind of bringing up the when you brought up Omar Epps versus Wesley Snipes, and I said honestly in the first one they didn't know him; he was nobody. So like he didn't. Like, they were all raw. All the characters were raw in the first one. So like obviously
Right.
they don't act professional really. You know what I mean? And then they
Right.
come
Right.
back and now they've established themselves. So they're gonna tone it down a little bit, obviously. So I guess it makes sense that that's the only thing I can really think of. But I would never have guessed it was PG, to be honest with you.
No, me neither. No, me neither. I'm telling you, me neither. I didn't even know they toned it out that much. All right. So last random question before we name our MVP of the movie. How old is your son now?
My son is 13.
All right. So what do you? I'm assuming you showed him Major League, right? Because you
Oh
just
yeah,
love this movie. All
yeah,
right, cool.
he watches it.
When was the appropriate age for you to show it to him, or when did you show it to him the first time? You think?
Last year, like when he was 12.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
because
12
to
years
me,
old.
like
Yeah, yeah.
listen, there's movies for kids that like Kindergarten Cop. I'm gonna just throw that out there because I always think about this. I don't know why I always think about this, but I
Okay.
do. It's like Kindergarten Cop. It's
Yeah.
about kids in kindergarten, right? And it's funny because Arnold Schwarzenegger is talking about like funny things with little kids, so you laugh at it. Little kids watch that and they love it because they see other little kids doing fire drills and like making fun of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but they don't really get that there's like behind the scenes is like a drug addict who murdered somebody like that
Right.
we put a rat on them. So it's the same thing. Like little kids will watch sports movies for the love of the game because they love seeing home runs because they love this and that. They don't always catch a lot of the shit behind the scenes that like you
Right.
and I would catch right away. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's pretty much like I know I watched it when I was young. My dad was into tons of sports movies. So
All right. All right. So for the parents out there listening, 12 years old is the is the Mendoza line. Like that's when we're gonna show the kids Major League. All right. So
oh
for
boy,
anybody who wants some advice on that. All right, Aurora. So who do you have? Who is the MVP of Major League to you?
MVP of Major League. Oh my god, this is hard. I'm gonna go with Bob Euchre. Honestly,
No
because
way!
I
Wow,
I
that's a
like
good
him.
pick.
He's a good tie-in. Like he narrates the story pretty much. Like you know what I mean. Like he you hear him in the beginning, like when they're talking about all the players that are going to be brought on during the movie. Like I mean, it's a redemption story for him too. If you want to go there, he's like an alcoholic that like his team
Right,
never friggin' wins. And then like all of
right,
a sudden he can start being a broadcaster again. But like he's hysterical, and he's also hysterical in the second one. So like he's somebody that he's definitely like has a huge impact on that movie. I love all of them. It's very hard, but I give him like the golden trophy here.
a lot of fans would agree with you because the most quotable line from this movie, you can guess it is just a bit outside. So it's true. That's like one of the I googled it, and that's one of the most quotable lines like all time. Like people love saying that line.
He's
So yeah, I
ridiculous.
gotta give it up to him.
You know what I quote a lot from him, and it has nothing to do like with Major League One, but from Major League Two, when like Serrano's running out to center field and administering CPR or whatever the hell he said, and like to the bird when the bird got hit with the ball, I was fucking
Mm-hmm,
crying.
mm-hmm.
And then the guy's like, "Oh, at least the bird survived," and he's like, "Who cares? It's a rat with wings." Like I can't. Like he's hysterical.
All right. So my MVP, and like you, I had a tough time. Oh man, it was so tough. It was so tough because I love Serrano, love Willie Mays Hayes. I even love Jake Taylor. But my MVP, I'm gonna give it to Vaughn.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta give it to Vaughn because like I just he's so stoic and so like whatever, like throughout the movie like you feel his energy come on and he takes this shit real fucking personal, like all right,
Hmm.
like fuck this guy, like fuck Haywood, and fuck Dorn, like I'm gonna stick it to them, like I like his energy. Like I just told you earlier, like whenever a Wild Thing comes on and then like his whole scene comes on, it's like, oh man, like I'm in, I can never miss this scene when he's striking out Haywood. Like it's simply amazing to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had some, and I love him too. Like he's another one with a lot of great one-liners in the movie. Like he's hysterical. Charlie Sheen.
Right.
And the thing that I think gets me with Charlie Sheen also is that he's actually like a real life, like he's like a baseball junkie. Like he loves baseball,
Yes.
and I think that that's fucking
Yes.
great because I think that he ties that in like with this movie. You know what I mean? To go on to your point. So I definitely, and as a person watching the film and as a baseball fan, I definitely appreciate that. And like, yeah.
I googled and I was like actually doing research on it, right? So this is a rumor now, right? I don't want to spread rumors, but like a random rumor out there about him is, like you said, he plays baseball a lot and he threw like roughly 80 miles per hour. So he allegedly says that he took steroids so he can get more miles per hour just to film the movie because he was actually pitching himself. Did you even know that?
I definitely wouldn't have guessed that he was pitching himself. No, that's actually a fun fact for me.
Yeah, but the fact that he was taking steroids shows you his dedication
I
to the
mean,
role. That shit was crazy.
that's not unbelievable. It's Charlie Sheen here. I mean, he said some fucking far fetched shit worse than that.
That's true. That's true. But anything else you want to add, Aurora, with the movie? Anything else you want to like highlight or talk about? Any shout outs?
No, honestly, I feel like you kind of brought up a lot of really good points, and I feel like I definitely went on to a lot of tangents with them and spoke a lot about whatever I liked about the movie. So nothing that I particularly want to add. Just that it's definitely a classic. I will check out Major League Three just because you told me to.
Please.
I'm actually surprised I haven't yet. Like I wonder what. I wonder why. Honestly, but I
I
will.
gotta find it. I gotta find it for you. I'm gonna find you like a link, like a free link. Like, hey, look, Major League Three. it's over here.
Well, especially now that you tell me Tanaka's in it because that's my boy. Fucking love him.
Yeah.
I love him. You have no marbles.
He would probably be your like Major League Two MVP then, I'm assuming, right?
Well, I like Parkman too. Not gonna lie, but I do.
Oh
I
yes.
definitely like
Yes.
David Keith. He's hysterical. Great guy to pick for that part. He did a fucking killer job too. But I like. So a lot of people probably wouldn't say Tanaka. I just think like once again it kind of goes. It ties into the whole outlandish theme with like shit that's like, oh god, what else? You know what I mean? Freaking what's his face selling off like their best hitter and like their best player and bringing him like this is I can't. Oh, I love this movie.
Oh man. But thank you, Aurora. Thank you for joining us. And that's it. Yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. This one's been a beautiful.